ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, you may know him as crewman number 2 from Star Trek The Next Generation for like 10 years.
He's done a lot more than that. He was a very tough biker and wanted to leap. Chucky in Broken Badges. He was a lonely outsider in 21 Jump Street.
Those were good, but it doesn't eclipse crewman number 2 in my mind.
Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies, Oswald from the Drew Carey Show, Rex Kondo from Napoleon Lawrence from Office Space. Forgot. None of these ring a bell.
No, that does not ring a bell. I'm just going to go with the crewman. Crewman number 2 from Star Trek The Next Generation, Dietrich Bader, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everybody, this is very exciting for me. I am a huge fan of this show. I was turned on to the show by my son, who knew that I was doing a guest star spot on the show, and he goes, "That's the coolest thing you've ever done." And I was like, "The coolest thing I've ever done?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "You know Dad's Batman, right?" That I'm Batman? And he goes, "Yeah." So I finally had to watch this show, and it is just a truly great show. It's really, really funny, and the music is fabulous. It's always so inventive. It's always pushing creatively, and I'm just delighted to be here today. So I want to introduce everybody. There is the creator, the 2 creators. I'm going to introduce God himself, Dan Bodemeyer and Swampy. And of course, Vincent. And then of course, Allison. And the fabulously talented Olivia Olson. And my good friend and part-time lover, D. Bradley Baker. Well, my first question obviously would go right to, how many episodes have you guys done?
We've done 126 half hours at this point, and we're in the middle of 4-hour-long specials.
That's just an immense amount of work. But correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not like a mathematician or anything, but that's more than 104.
No, we know what I'm talking about. That is.
Well, did you think when you wrote that song, that particular lyric, that you were gonna, you were like, whatever?
Well, what we thought was, Disney usually picks up 52 episodes. That's
right.
The limit that they do, and it's like,
So 2.
That would be 2 per episode, because it's 2 11 minutes and a 22, and we thought, well, that'd be 104. That's perfect. And somebody had told us there were 104 days.
Let's be honest, we're animators. Math is not our strong.
And we always say that, okay, there's been more than 104 episodes, but we've never said that only 1 episode happens in a day.
In a day, yeah. It could be later in the day.
They have their 10 to 11 episode, then their 11 to 12, and they break for lunch. Give you like 3 episodes at night.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's a busy day.
Yeah.
And so how many songs, like it averages probably like 2 to 3 songs an episode, right? Am I wrong?
We're at over 300.
Yeah, it's like 350 songs, something
Wow.
like that. So.
And what was your favorite to write?
I think it's probably Summer Belongs to You. That was the one that was the most fun. Because we were sort of structuring this build up to a chorus, and then when we got the chords we wanted going into that, the chorus just came out of us sort of all at the same time. It was me
My
and
favorite one to write was actually the Rick.
Rick.
It's not because the song that we pitched them didn't work. And so I was sitting there at the end of the table and I went, okay, how about Rick. It's good. It's fun. And everybody stopped and went, that's really good. Dan turns to me and says, that song took as long to sing as it did to long to write as it did to sing.
You realize there's only 3 words in the lyrics of that, and you missed one of them.
That's true.
We were up late last night.
Yeah. So, one of my favorite songs was Busted. I don't know if you guys remember that, but Olivia, you're so fantastic on that. You recorded 2 versions of it, right?
Yeah, we did an extended version of it, but
I didn't like the extended version as much.
that was only me singing of it.
And we actually recorded we did sort of the Weird Al version of that song for the Wizard of Oz episode. We did one called Rusted, where we sort of like did our own parody of our own song.
I like that kind of meta. Now, Dee, have you ever sung a song on the show?
No, I have not. Harry's pretty quiet when it comes to singing.
Yeah. I have a question for you too. Does a platypus actually make that sound? Did you like do research?
No, that is a fake sound. That is a completely fake sound. I walked in, they showed me the picture, they said, what do you think that sounds like? It needs to be a simple little sound, and that's kind of the gag. There's no expression that we need in particular, just something that seems to fit. I tried making 3 sounds, and Swampy said, okay, thank you, you can leave now.
Yeah.
And they selected the one that they liked, and they drop it now into every single show without having to re-record that.
The nice part about that is we never have to spend too much time in a room with Dee anymore.
Right, yeah.
You know him, you know what a
It works for everyone, it
Yeah.
works great for both of us.
You don't want to do that. So, but were there other people that auditioned for Perry? I mean, like, how many people auditioned for Perry? And how many different noises?
We literally, like Disney said, oh, you know, you
Just
want a
get
sound of an animal, just we'll have Dee come in and he'll give you some sounds. You can pick one. Dee does every animal that you can possibly imagine. He's one of those guys.
What I like is, I've had several conversations in meetings with other actors that have worked with Dee, and Dee will say, oh no, we worked together, I played your dog. Some movie, we were doing that with Ashley the other day. He said, no, actually I played your chihuahua. And, I love that.
Yeah, in the clip they showed that had all the animals singing Happy Birthday.
Did you do all those?
I was all the animals. I was told to sing the Happy Birthday song without singing the Happy Birthday song because that costs money to use the Happy Birthday song.
Sure.
So it was just pick the animals and do something that sounds like Happy Birthday, and that's what I remember doing it. And it's just very delightful. It's very odd the things that I'm asked to do, but it's I think it came out beautifully.
Reminds me, you really got to work on your GNU.
I'm like,
It was not. That was just, everything else was great, but you know.
well, I gave you a fake GNU. I'll give you a real one next time.
So, Allison, my question is, did you know that, what are you doing? Was it written out, or was it Whatcha? Did you include that?
It was Watcha from the start.
It was?
And it was created by these two.
Uh-huh.
I was just told to coin the phrase and then it was going to be repeated, but I have to record a new one every episode.
Sucks to be you.
We auditioned like, I don't know, 50 girls for Isabella. Allison was like the second or third in, and I knew it was her from there. And then I sat through all the rest of them, just thinking, wow, I don't even, you know, I didn't want to send them all home, but I was sure it was you.
Please, work is slow.
She sounded just exactly like Isabella sounded in my head. She, you know, like when I looked at the drawing and she talked. And I think Swampy was in, I think you were still
I was in
Europe. But I looked at our executive and we just looked at her and said, oh, that's Al, that's Isabella, that's gotta be her.
Yeah, because it really is now like an iconic, it really sticks in your head as something that really does it's like this generation's What You Talking About, Willis. Yes. No, it really
I
is.
hear about other sitcoms now, and I wonder if they're...
Yes, whenever anybody says that, I'm
You're
wondering whether
totally
it's
doing an Isabella thing right now.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. You're
I don't want to own that, but I kind of want to.
You're gonna have to. Yeah, it's yours now.
I loved hearing that in all the different languages the show is translated in. It's got the same rhythm. Yeah, and it's really cool hearing all those versions. They all keep it cute and sweet with that same rhythm. It's really nice.
Yeah, I love being self-referential, so I'm going to be right now. We had a party on the Drew Carey show when we were internationally syndicated because they looped all of us, you know. And it was funny to watch myself in Japanese and all that kind of stuff. But the guy who did me in Spain, did Oswald, as if he was retarded. And it was about 5 shows in, I got really offended by that. I was really upset. And Ryan was teasing me about it. I was like, no, that's not okay. So Vincent, I actually recently saw the pilot, and I guessed it was a pilot because your voice was higher. And I
Was
thought,
it?
did they change? Did you ever notice
No,
that?
I changed.
You changed. The change, as we call it.
Yeah, no, I know from the pilot to probably like the second and third episode, you can definitely hear a bit of a change.
Yeah.
The way that worked time-wise actually was like my entire like vocal change, and so everything else after that, I think sounds pretty consistent.
Yeah, because we recorded the pilot, we recorded the roller coaster, and then it was like a year and a half before we went on the air. So there was
Yeah.
actually like 6 months between recording one and the other.
Yeah, the second episode I think we did the first one in like February or January of 2006. And then we started shooting the second episode, I think that's September or October. So it had been a good amount of time before we started.
Yeah, I wondered if it was a different guy, because it sounded exactly like you, but it was so tired, and then I just got confused. So I'm really glad.
But old voices are pretty great, right?
Does it become difficult to hit that really high voice as you blossom into manhood?
Yeah, as Allison said, I am blossoming. It hasn't been that difficult. Thank you, though, Dee.
What's it like blossoming into manhood?
Quick, next question.
We'll do a sidebar later.
Yeah, later. Yeah.
We'll talk.
So you guys, through the years, have had some pretty amazing guest stars, real big movie stars. How
Like
is
you.
it?
Yeah, Dietrich Bader.
Right, yeah, exactly. I was thinking Ben Stiller, Malcolm McDowell, or something like that.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Yeah, some really great ones. How is it when you approach them? I mean, do they?
Well, if we approach them in an uncomfortable place, like you
Right.
see them, say,
In the
like in
bathroom.
a bathroom
Yeah.
or something, it's an uncomfortable conversation, but they're often more likely to say yes. I think we'll get rid of it.
Just to get through the awkward.
And we're okay with that. We don't care why they say yes.
You know, they always say the best deals in Hollywood are made at the urinal.
Yeah, they do say that. That's
So you like sidle up to the urinal and say like, hey, would you like to be in a cartoon?
I've done that. I mean, we've got an episode coming up in the future with like the top gear guys.
Oh, really?
And
Cool. I like that.
I shouted out at an event in London to one of the presenters just to say, hey, would you want to do a cartoon?
Wow.
You have kids, right? Sure. It's Phineas and Ferb. When your agent calls, remember, Phineas and Ferb, do the show, man.
Yeah.
And,
So you get a lot of guest stars by shouting at them?
Yeah, the nicest one was
That's how we
No buses.
Simon Pegg.
Yeah. Oh,
Tweeted about, yeah.
great
World's
actor.
End, go see it, it's phenomenal. He tweeted about the show and then got into an argument with Damon Lindelof, the writer of Lost, on tweet. And we're sitting there going, look, these two guys are tweeting about our show. So it's like, quick, get them to do a voice.
That's sweet. But now, so in the future, in this upcoming season, do you have anybody that's like in your pocket that's kind of cool? No, no one.
Well, we ended up the Damon Lindelof connection. He's writing one that's coming out.
Well, that's cool.
We're doing this.
David Lindelof, creator of Lost, and
Yeah.
writer of this most recent Star Trek.
We just had Leah Remini and Billy Gardell came on and did a show from Mike and Molly. Those are some fun ones. The Top Gear presenters are going to be doing some. Simon. There's been a few. I don't know. It's hard now. We just get so many people coming in.
That's cool.
There's people that I don't know whether we can say their names.
There's some that, you know.
Sometimes they're like, don't mention this person because
Is it Obama? Did Obama do it?
it might be.
No, I'm saying.
We don't want to
You
deny
know
that.
it's not.
Neither confirm nor deny it.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. And I just saw, which was really cool for me, the big Marvel episode.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah. Some of you may have heard about that.
Yeah, we got together with Marvel. I think Court from Marvel is right down here.
There you
Oh,
go.
cool, there he is.
Thank you.
So any questions you have about anything in the Marvel universe, you can log in. We got together with them and because Disney bought Marvel and they approached I think both of us and said would you like to do a crossover together and
We said, who's Marvel?
That's that sounds like a good idea to us. We don't have to twist our arm at all, and we just had a really great time playing in that playbox with those characters, but we realized as much of Marvel fans as we were, there's intricacies of the rules in that universe that we were unaware of, and sometimes it came up with great opportunities for comedy with nobody can pick up Thor's hammer except for Thor. It doesn't matter if somebody else has his power. It's about about worthiness, and so we had a lot of things that we'd run into a roadblock with the story and go, oh, but we can use that for a comic moment, and we had just a really great time here.
And we had also Jeff Noe and Joe Quesada. I mean, all the people over there. This was a huge leap for them to make. They were kind of giving their guys over to come into our world and let us have fun with them and trust us to do it not at their expense. And fortunately, not only Dan and I grew up on the Marvel comics, but all of our crew were massive fans. So we were like, don't worry, we love these characters as much as you guys do. And we just had a great time doing it. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to throw Fred under the bus there. Fred Tatascore, the voice of
Yeah, there he is.
We got to work with some very cool voice stuff.
Don't make him angry.
No!
We wouldn't like
Oh, Phineas and Ferb, it's all right.
I find that a really interesting idea, though, that every cartoon is its own little self-contained universe with its own rules.
Yes.
And that if you bring in another universe, that you're not subverting all of those new rules to your universe, but that you're honoring them
Right.
and playing with them a little bit. That you have to learn them and incorporate them into the rules of your show.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I found it interesting, like the conflict between Red Skull, who is legitimately a bad guy and maintains his bad guy status through the whole show, and Doofenshmirtz, who's kind of good. And Red Skull going, is this going anywhere? Or it was really interesting for me. I mean, I remember the episode where Doof meets his actual like an evil twin and he's actually genuinely evil. It was, I could be doing that. Why are you putting self-destruct on everything?
What, you gotta have a self-destruct button. That's the first thing I build, usually.
So I thought we were going to run the Marvel thing, or
I think we could probably do that. Oh yeah, we're getting to go. They don't want to see it.
I believe that what has happened in this section, and I'm not actually positive, but so I may be setting up the wrong clip, is that the superheroes have lost their powers but are still fighting back against the evil bad guys with just their ingenuity and whatever they can get.
that is totally cool. My kids and I really, really loved that. It was a really great episode. Was that fun to do? To get everybody in there? And
Miserable.
Yeah.
Did you get to see the whole episode?
I got to see the whole episode. That was my perk.
That's not fair.
That was how we drive.
Allison has not seen the whole episode yet,
Yeah.
so that's interesting.
You've seen, has everyone seen the whole episode?
That's on YouTube.
Ford's seen it.
Fred's seen it, yeah.
What was really fun was getting to do all this action with those characters and our characters in a way that we don't usually do in the show. I mean, we did a lot of action sort of in the movie, but we really threw a lot into making sure that it felt like a good Marvel episode as well as a good
Yeah, it was a
Phineas
legitimate
episode.
action. It was
And
actually,
I think it's one of the best things we've done.
Yeah.
And it's an hour-long special. Is it August 16th on
Yes, it is.
Disney Channel? So
And sometime
By all
in the future
means
on
watch.
XD. Yeah, do watch it.
yeah.
25th? 25th. XD, Disney XD on the 25th.
So.
pretty cool. As Disney like acquires different things, you could go in different directions.
We're hoping Disney continues to acquire lots of things.
When we heard, we were actually in a mix, and when we heard that Disney had acquired Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
the very first time we said, literally it was like it popped up on the news feed, and somebody mentioned it, and I immediately drew Doofenshmirtz as in Darth Vader costume. And I took a picture of it, and I texted it to Eric Coleman, the head of Disney TV Animation, and I said, "I smell crossover." And he texted back almost immediately, "No, I'm having lunch with Gary, who's the head of the channel, and we're talking about that ourselves." So, you know, we're actually going to have to announce today that we are doing a Star Wars crossover. This is something we're very excited about, just like the Marvel thing. We've really found a way of making it really work with our characters and their characters. And what we're doing is we're taking A New Hope, Star Wars 4, which is the original, and we're keeping it completely sacrosanct. We're keeping it completely sort of sacrosanct.
All the same story is going on the way it always did.
But Phineas and Ferb are Luke Skywalker's neighbors. They come to the farm over, and their story keeps sort of interweaves. This is them saying, "Hey, you know, we got these power converters at Tasha Station. You should go pick some up." And Candace is a stormtrooper with Buford and Baljeet, and the boys end up with the Death Star plans and have to get them back into R2 at some point.
There's Isabella is a fighter, a transport ship pilot that they pick up to take them along.
And Han Solo is her Newman.
Yeah.
He's the one that cut her off when she was trying to make the Kessel Run.
And they're in her ship, the Centennial Chihuahua.
So their story just keeps interweaving with theirs, and we find out that, you know, there's Luke and Leia swinging by in the background. So we keep seeing bits of the Star Wars story and realizing, oh, this is sort of going on in the background, just a little bit off camera throughout that, and it'll be the first time we've ever seen Phineas and Ferb fighting because that happens, and it's. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we're you know, most of the way through writing. And
you can guess the part that Dee did for us.
You know, this is them trying to escape the Death Star as Luke is making his last run. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we have a little bit of a clip from it. We've been putting together the animatic. This is just sort of pencil test, early stuff, but you'll sort of get to see a little bit of how it's all connected. So that's going to be fun, but we have probably at this point told you everything that we can, that we're allowed to tell you about that. So if you ask us questions during the Q&A about Star Wars, we'll probably have to say, we'll have to refer you to the "we can't speak about it" portion of the program.
If you ask a Star Wars question, security will roughly throw you out.
That's right. But if you guys have any questions, you can, you know, line up.
Microphone here, I guess.
There's the mic. Yay! Run, children. Push the grown-ups aside. Use the Force if you must. Let those children grow.
Will you guys make an episode so we can find out how Perry became a secret agent?
We've talked about doing a Perry origin story, but we sort of have a little bit of it in the Second Dimension movie. He was assigned to them when he was a very, very little, you know, sort of a platypus puppy, the version of
Platypus. We should do our research.
So,
Find out what they're called.
yes.
Young platypus.
Yeah, and so he was assigned to them when he was a little puppy, and they were little kids. And but we don't know how he actually got.
The serious answer to your question is we get asked about that a lot. We do try to preserve Perry as a platypus of mystery. And our feeling is if you find out too much about him, he loses some of that. So we struggle with those things.
So,
First off, thank you for creating what is by far one of the best written animated shows on TV. Now, Dan and Jeff, as creators of the show, were you also your first choices for the voices of Doofenshmirtz?
I wanted Brad Pitt originally.
we were our first choices. I'm not sure whether we were necessarily Disney's first choices, but no, actually they were very good about it. They actually suggested me as Doofenshmirtz because I pitched it, and they sort of fell in love with that voice. In the pilot, I think, were you Major Monogram, dude?
Yes, I was.
Yes, and so Swami took these. Because Swami was in the UK when we were making the pilot, so we couldn't have him come in and do the voice.
But it was weird. We did have to go through the audition process, and we were auditioning people to sound like us. So at the end,
And nobody sounded like us more than us.
We were killing it. Sounding like us.
But you mentioned how well written the show is, and I wanted to bring up that point because it really is. It is a beautifully well written show. As the clips that they showed you at the beginning of this can attest, I mean the amount of laughs that they were getting through that. I think of like sitting through a movie that I think was funny, and how many times, within a minute or within a half an hour do I laugh? And it's not nearly as much as with watching this show on TV. This is much funnier.
And that's why D. Bradley Baker has a job with us.
I think you would make us the happiest panel in the entire world if we all got a shout out on Doof Daily.
Okay, we'll do that.
I was at Comic-Con earlier.
By the way, we didn't say it out loud
This is
before,
Doctor Who.
but Dietrich is also the voice of Albert, Irving's older brother on the show, so he's a regular character.
So I was wondering what kind of creative process you go through to figure out how Perry is going to get trapped when he's trying to fight Doofenshmirtz, because I mean there's everything from the classic net and then there's like a baby walker. So I was wondering how you come up
It goes
with that
from
stuff.
both ends of the spectacular spectrum, from just here's a clamp on your ankle to an enormous machine with a hydraulic thing, and it's really just whatever the board artists come up with for that. We don't usually dictate that to them. As long as they get a laugh out of it, they can do whatever they want. That's that's basically the whole process is them trying to make us laugh and trying to make the other crew people laugh. And
In the process of the writing, is there writers and animators actually work together? Because I know in a lot of different productions they'll have an animation house like away. And then,
Yeah, like on The Simpsons, the writers were in an entirely different city from us.
Wow.
But here we really try to make it as collaborative as possible, because there's writers who write the outline, there's storyboard artists who are also writers who write the dialogue while they're putting it together. Then we put it in a room and we get everybody in the room and we rewrite it in there. And we just keep working it until we think it's funny, and then
But the animators are in that room.
Huh?
The animators are in that room.
No, you never limit where you can get funny from.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Why cut it off?
Yeah.
It's a remarkably collaborative process making things like this. I mean, like often as a voice actor, you'll get credit, for being that character and how funny it is or whatever. But it's like, I do that part of that, or we do that part of it. but there's the writing, and there's the animating, there's the boarding, there's the music, the song. There's all of these hundreds of people, this army of artists and technicians who come together to make every frame work together so beautifully. So it's everybody together, really.
Hi.
Hi.
As we saw in the last episode, or one of the latest episodes, and in the clip, you showed that Stacy found out that Perry was an agent. Will you be playing off of that?
We now have that in our arsenal, so we can pull it out when we need it. To you know, if she's if it helps to have her help him in some way, we can we have somebody that knows that it's him.
And we kind of leave it to the writers and the board artists to throw that in there whenever they feel like it now. So we're waiting to be surprised by that, just like you are.
We should have had 2 microphones.
Hi. I
kids'
actually have 2 questions.
Okay.
Question one is, when is the live action show going to be coming back to California anytime soon, or do you not know that?
They're on hiatus
for the
now.
time being.
We don't know when they're coming back with that, so.
Okay, and
But
my
but
other
you should
question...
write Feld Entertainment.
Feld Entertainment, write them a letter.
Right. And my other question is, when are we going to expect a return to the second dimension?
We have an episode coming up probably 6 months from now or something that is a return to the second dimension. We have a half-hour special. And the entire thing takes place in the second dimension.
Will I get to talk in this one?
Maybe.
You sang a song in the last one.
Cut out my storyline.
We did cut out the story.
Vanessa was in the second dimension movie, and
You were wonderful.
if you get the DVD, her scene that we ended up having to cut, which we loved the scene, it just became so long, is on the DVD as one of the extras.
Hi. Sorry. Are there any updates that you can give us on the theatrical film that was in the works?
No.
We can. One of those things.
Short answer. Because we don't know.
Thanks for playing along.
Hi, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
So first, I thought that the clip for the superhero episode was really harsh because there's no girl superheroes in it.
Candace and Isabella make. They have sort of a storyline where they're realizing that, it's like none of the girl superheroes showed up, so it's all this testosterone and fighting and so we make a point of that.
It's a big part of the story, so it's really why. So that is very disturbing.
I'm not going down. And then my second question is, will Candace ever stop busting?
Will she ever stop busting them? Well, eventually she'll grow out of it, I'm sure, as they become adults and are no longer subject to being grounded. But we get a lot of humor out of it for the show, so I think for the time being we'll keep her busting them.
I'm very excited because I've been waiting a year to ask this question, planning it since the last panel. I was wondering, like for Dan and Swampy, you have so many different storylines that are going on in each episode. You have the Doofenshmirtz plot, you have the Phineas and Ferb plot, usually there's like Candace plot and how they all come together. Of all of those, what's the hardest one to write or figure out the ideas for?
It might well be the Phineas and Ferb is the hardest to keep fresh because they're having to do something really spectacular every day. And the thing with Phineas and Ferb is that their plot is really sort of the setting. It's not really the story. The story is more what Candace is doing or what Doof and Perry are doing because those characters actually change and Phineas and Ferb never have any real problems. Nothing goes wrong for them. They're sort of the Ferris Bueller of the show. And so what they're doing is just sort of the background noise that sort of frames the show. And trying to keep that big and fresh is usually, I think, the more difficult thing.
The crossover between those, where the storylines intersect is hard. When one of our board artists, Taliki there, That's one of the trickiest parts, is to find out how one affects the other in a way that's fresh and believable. So.
How Deep's inventions made Phineas and
Yes.
Ferbs disappear.
Yes.
Hello, my question is for Dan and Swampy. And first of all, I just want to thank you for all the cartoons you've created together, back to Rocco, and I've just been watching all this my life. I just adore it. Thank you for making family-friendly shows that everyone can enjoy together.
I never got that comment.
My favorite part of every episode is always the song, and I love the musical episode as well as the created language episode where it's very musical. I was wondering if you're going to be creating another full-length musical episode?
Well, we've got some hour-long specials that we're putting as many songs into them as we can. We're not doing another one that's specifically a musical where it's just like every couple phrases there's a song for like a big cue up for a song. And I think that we did Roller Coaster again because we felt everybody was familiar enough with Roller Coaster that we didn't have to, it wouldn't feel like we're having to tell a new story and throw 30 songs into an 11-minute show.
We should do a rock opera.
Yeah. We may well do a rock opera at some point. We've talked about that at several points, so it's possible. We don't have any plans.
I think we can say this, we have a virtual CD dropping, as they say in the music business soon.
Yes.
I don't have more details, but check your iTunes and whatnot.
Yeah, we're doing volume 3 of the soundtrack.
Hi, my name is Chris, and this is for Dan and Swampy as well. I'm trying myself to get into animation. I know it's difficult, it's hard, it's tasking. It takes about 6 hours just to draw about 10 seconds for me. And something I want to know is like, what advice would you give me to become better at doing stuff like not just like anime, but also creating cartoon series in general?
Right. What we always say is just draw, whenever you can. For young artists, I always recommend 2 books very strongly. I recommend How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way by Stan Lee, which is,
Still have that on my shelf and still use it.
It's just everything about perspective, everything about composition, everything about making the drama of a scene work is so transferable to any kind of cartoon that you would want to do. It's not just superhero cartoons. And the other is Preston Blair's animation book. If you get those 2 books and just read them and understand them and absorb them, that will help you along the way. Because almost everything that I do in animation, I can sort of trace back to those 2 books.
And it's there's so much I've read now about it's just the volume of drawings you do. The more drawing you can do, the better you will get. It's that, memory, sense memory for your muscle memory. So throw away your eraser, get a big Sharpie, draw with that, and just keep on drawing, and create stacks of drawings.
Everybody's got a couple thousand bad drawings in them, so the more you draw, the more you get those out of the way.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
If I can throw in a quick plug, if you're interested in voice acting, I've got a website that's called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, and that has all the information and advice that I have about becoming a voice actor. Also, Yuri Lowenthal and Tara Platt have a great book of VO voice acting that's got a lot of good information too. So anybody who's interested in that line of career, check those out too.
I also have 2 things. So why is it that Doofenshmirtz creations always have to ruin Phineas and Ferb's?
Well, they don't actually always do it. More often than not, that's sort of the best way to have them to have them intersect. Our edict is that somehow those 2 stories have to intersect, because otherwise, why are we telling 2 different stories? So sometimes you think it's going to destroy it, and then it gets destroyed some other way. We have to get rid of what Phineas and Ferb are doing, or Mom will see it. So that's usually the easiest way.
And that way tends to make us laugh more.
And he has that balcony, and for some reason everything's always pointed right in their backyard. It's just.
Are you allowed to do like a quick
dialogue of like one of the episodes you've already done that's like on TV already?
I don't know if we're allowed to. I think we're allowed to, but we probably can't remember any of them.
I think there's strict rules against that.
What kind of rules?
Very strict.
Just gonna give you that baleful stare, aren't you?
Yes, I don't have anything to say to you.
One from B here. Let's give up Harry.
Big fan of the show. Any chance to see Stan Lee make an appearance in the Marvel crossover?
There's a chance.
Yes,
I'd say it would be a very strong, yes.
That was our one demand, is that we had to have a cameo from Stan Lee.
I got a great picture that I put up on my Twitter page, because the day that he came in, we were both wearing white pants and white shoes. White pants, white shoes brigade. It was really cool.
When he was leaving the studio, I was actually coming in to record, and I stopped and I said hello to him, and I got like a picture with him, and I was talking to him, and I was like, it's incredible to meet you, I'm so happy you're able to do this. And he's like, well, I was really excited to get to work with you, because, I mean, Phineas is a real superhero. And I was like,
When is the Star Wars episode coming out?
We don't. We think it's probably summer of next year, something like that. It takes us a while to animate it, so it's probably about a year away.
Where's that to write it?
Mostly written.
Hi, I just wanted to say three things. Well, I know how Doofenshmirtz I know how he gets all his plans, because I'm a big fan of Phineas and Ferb, and I just wanted to say that I really like how Doofenshmirtz sometimes fails, but I really like his inventions. They look very cool.
Oh, excellent.
Future scientist, right?
It's one of the most fun things to do on the show is to sit around and think of Doofenshmirtz inventions. Because it gets really silly. So we enjoy that as much as you do.
What was that one? The tree falls in the forest tornado?
Yeah, so the tree falls, it makes the sound different.
Answer to that age-old question.
Hi, I have two questions.
Yes.
Okay, one. Since it passed 104 days, do you think you're going to change the theme song?
No, we're just going to stick with it the way it is and let people try to figure out the math.
It's easy to sing 104. Anything else starts to get a little clumsy.
Well, there's 270 days he doesn't want it.
If you have two questions, don't say that you have two questions. Because they're going to shut you down.
Nice shirt.
Have you ever thought of like maybe school ending for an episode and having Doofenshmirtz as the teacher and like them trying to make it fun? Or...
Wow. We have thought of that exact thing.
Let's just be clear, we thought of it first.
Better entertainment lawyers.
Who have you been talking to?
And have you thought of maybe doing a crossover with the Muppets?
Muppets, but we have not ruled it out.
We have made it up.
Hiring that kid.
What's your favorite thing to do when you're not filming or animating your show? What's your favorite thing?
You know, we like to just hang out with our family, I think. It's just like by the time I get home, I'm pretty exhausted. I just want to see my daughters and my wife and hang out.
Surfing with my son. Just best thing ever.
yeah, I love spending time with my kids too. That's what I never won. No, I don't know, I just kind of do normal Just like go and play basketball sometimes.
Or drag racing.
A lot of drag racing, but I race for pink slips because I'm just like Vin Diesel.
And Allison, you teach a class, or?
Yes, in a couple hours. If you guys want to take hip hop in North Hollywood, I'll be teaching there. That's what I do in my free time, is dance, dance, dance. I like to sing. I just finished my CD, so if you want to come buy it, I'm selling it tomorrow after the Adventure Time Encyclopedia panel.
Thank you for the nice words on the back of that. It was really sweet. You got a nice dedication on there. It was lovely.
Yeah. No, she's going to have to put some nice words on the back of it. What's the undercurrent there? Dee, what are you doing?
I like to take pictures of bugs and flowers. And I'm serious, I really like bugs and flowers a lot. And if you want to see them, I'm on Instagram at instagram.com/dbradleybaker. And it's all kinds of pictures of bugs and flowers that I take around when I walk around my house and in my neighborhood and in my backyard. I love
His
it.
house is just infested.
Shot of his bug bite.
And I like it that way. That's how I like it.
No, it's really great photography. You should check it out.
Hi guys. So one of my favorite episodes is Tri-Stone Area.
That's my daughter's favorite too.
Like it just depends on the
There's
show's
the
format
writer
and
and,
how you guys understand it. Like no dialogue and so like with the format, having such a familiar format and over 100 episodes, like how do you guys stay creative and stay fresh?
We don't. We've run out of ideas.
We're embracing the staleness of it all.
Ideas are not a finite thing. When we first, got picked up for like 26 episodes, we were like, that's however many stories that is. I'm
26 episodes, 52 stories. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
And we ended up, the more stories you tell, the more those lead to other stories. It's sort of a self-generating thing. One will give you an idea for another, which will give you an idea for another.
Hi, I was wondering if Dee Baker can make the sounds that Appa and Momo made from Avatar.
Oh, yeah, I can. Avatar, the Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra. I do the animal sounds on that show, and I was also the voice of Tarlok on Legend of Korra. So, Momo, the flying lemur, is... And Appa, the flying sky bison, is...
Does the little man that lives inside his mouth. Can you do that one?
Never seen you do that.
It just kind of shocks people. There's no use for it.
I think you just found the use today.
How do you guys make the characters? Do you draw them on paper, or do you make costumes?
We used to draw them on paper, and you draw 24 different drawings for every second. Now we draw them primarily, here we draw them on a computer screen. We have a glass computer screen that when you draw on it with a pencil, it's just like drawing on paper, and that way we don't have to scan it in. And you draw a whole bunch of them, and we're saving trees. But it's all still drawn by hand, the old-fashioned way.
Are you guys gonna make an episode where Perry he's not a secret agent anymore? They kick him out or something like that?
We aren't going to kick him out of Alka anytime soon, but there is an episode where he...
Interesting developments.
Yeah, where he becomes separated from Alka in a way that's interesting.
Cool. Right, I think this is the last
And don't forget to breathe when you're asking questions.
Okay.
Thanks to my two sons, we've been watching this show for years. And I have one question that I've been trying to figure out is the sibling relationship. We have two siblings that are natural, Candace and Phineas. How does Ferb get in the middle of those two?
Was
there an extramarital affair?
We always said we're not going to probably ever tell what happened to the other parents because we just don't think that's what the story is about. But when they were young, when Phineas and Ferb were both toddlers, Ferb's dad and Phineas's mom got together, and they're a blended family, and that's sort of the only family they've really ever known. So they just called them mom and dad, and I just felt like that was the kind of family
Didn't want all of that, the rest of that story to be the story. It's just about them being a very happy, blended family.
It's all explained in Candace's song, Little Brother.
Yeah.
Yes, it's actually.
It's all in there.
He's right.
Little Brother. I've seen every episode.
You're younger, you're related, and you're boys.
Yes. I'll always be my little brother because of those facts.
Unassailable facts.
This is going to be our last question.
Last question, boy.
Pressure's
well,
on.
No pressure.
What you say that doesn't make sense. Anyways, what made you do what you do today? Like, how did you start and what made you want to do what you're doing on Phineas and Ferb?
Complete unsuitability for any other career.
I've tried almost everything else that you can think of. The list of jobs that I did up until the age of 28 is ridiculously long and varied. And I just found I hated all other work. And so I quit a job. Fortunately, I could draw well enough to get a job in animation about 3 months later, and have been deliriously happy ever since.
I really enjoyed making funny voices and probably annoyed everyone I met for a while because of that. But it ended up paying off a lot because if I wasn't doing funny voices from a very young age, I wouldn't be here right now doing the show.
Yeah, I've grown up dancing, singing, and acting, and I get to utilize all of these skills in this show. So I had the privilege of going on the audition for Phineas and Ferb. I count myself privileged, lucky, blessed. I'm the lucky child to be a part of something like this, and I'm gonna stick it out for as long as they'll keep me.
To just being good family friends with these guys, and
We've known Olivia since she was in a car seat, literally, since she was an infant.
and they just knew about my singing and all that stuff, and gave me a shot. Here I am. So very lucky.
And I think I got to doing what I'm doing by continuing to do things I like to do. And that's, in a nutshell, what I think people should do, is when you're a kid, I think you have a lot of opportunities to start doing things that you don't like, but that you're good at. And I would advise against that. I think you should always be doing things that you like and find the things that you like to do that you're good at and follow that. So never stop doing things that you really love to do. That is the secret.
We've got a bunch of our crew that are in the audience, and I want all you guys to stand up, because we could not do this.
Okay, these guys are signing autographs in the signing area, starting at 2:30 to 4, in the signing area AA05.
AA05.
Does it cost money, or do you need a special ticket to get into
Just
this?
show up, pleasant demeanor. If you have an unpleasant demeanor, you don't get an autograph. Keep polite and friendly. Thank you guys very much.